it's a little late.
I feel like the room kind of gives some pretty good acoustics, but if you can't hear us, please let us know. I'm gonna go over here.
All right, I'm gonna start with one that I think is very valuable for everyone, no matter what rank you are, and whoever wants to answer can answer. What are a few things you do as a leader to fill your cup so you can keep pouring into others? Jess?
I stay surrounded by people that are doing better than me in the industry, in relationship, in finances, in investment, people that are succeeding at a different level in any area of my life. So instead of being intimidated by those people, I want to be around them. I want to hear what their conversations are. I want to see what they're doing. What are their daily routines? What are their non-negotiables? So that I constantly want to sit at tables with people that are achieving higher than I am.
Love it. Anybody else want to pipe in?
I will. I mean, I continue to, no matter how long you're in this business, you need to continue to dial into the calls, the Zooms. All of these leaders in this room, they all bring something different to the table. I learn from everyone. So dial in, zoom in, and take it all in, because it's going to inspire you no matter how you're feeling.
Okay, next question. If you could go back to the beginning, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to yourself?
Can we fix this really quick? Can we?
Well, to angle it a little bit more this way.
This way?
It's literally just staring at me.
So for me, and I say this all the time, if I could start over, I would have followed up more. When Maria followed up with me probably weekly for 3 solid months. When I was doing follow-ups, if people didn't respond, which I did not respond to her every time, but if people didn't respond to me, I got defeated and I stopped following up with them. And so I wish I had had the same follow-up gusto she had when she was following up with me.
Hey, so wait, let's talk about the follow-up, because I know a lot of you ask, but how do you get customers? But how do you get people? But how do you... The thing is you can't stop. Like, you have to continue to share. If you're taking your Thrive every day, there's a reason you're taking your Thrive every day. So you just have to keep sharing. Again, you don't know who necessarily is ready for it right now, but it's all about staying consistent. And the follow-up, the company gives you a zillion and one reasons to reach out to somebody and follow up. I mean, one of my latest customers was, I'm trying to think of one of the last promos I reached out to. It was BOGO. And I'm like, hey, I don't know if you saw this, but is this something that you want to do? I can tag you. And she said, oh my gosh, I've been thinking about it. You know, so the company gave me a reason to reach out to her. They're giving you a reason. It doesn't matter how organized you are. I know a lot of you said, how do you stay organized? Here's the deal. I mean, I'm halfway flying by the seat of my pants half of the time. But this is what I do, so I'm so consistent, even in the flying by the seat of my pants. So the company will give you a reason to reach out to people with all the things. And again, don't take it personally.
Sheila, I think Sheila's going to answer.
Yeah, if I could go back to the beginning, I would put people on the phone sooner. And I know a lot of people do chats or whatever, which is fine. I still prefer the phone. But, I mean, Starla is actually a good example. I mean, how many times had
16.
I had reached out to her 16 times, and in those 16 times, we really could have wrapped up a phone conversation about 15 minutes with answering all our questions. But, you know, it is what I had to do at the time, because I worked at a school, and, you know, you had to steal your own time. But some of that was just fear of picking up the phone. So I would pick up the phone sooner and make that connection with your upline leader.
I think I would have slowed down and, you know, really invested that time in people's VIP periods and, you know, not ran through it so quickly, just really making sure that people understand, because that duplication happens when they can understand the simplicity and then they can repeat it. So slowing down and really working with every person that's coming in, knowing their goals and where they're headed.
Can I just say something on that? I think I would have shared my story sooner and faster. Sometimes we wait to share, oh, we want a story, I don't have, you know, I would have shared sooner. So get your story out, because that's really where the connections happen. That's when people resonate with you. That's That's really what this is about. So share your story sooner than later. That would be my tip.
Can I just interject into this? Because every single one of us actually has something of, oh, I wish I'd done this different. I wish I'd done this different. And you're all very successful leaders. So just remember that. Like, there's nobody like, oh, I did everything perfect and I'm good.
So my biggest thing is I wish I would have created a routine. So like Maria said, like I'm very fly by the seat of my pants, and I like the organization. I like having something to do, and I find that being very successful in your business, you kind of have to have some sort of organization, even if it is chaos a little bit. But I wish that I would have had a routine that I did every single day. I think it would have made me focus more on myself and my team and given me the time to, yeah.
After that, have Susan talk about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 with the routine.
Oh, yeah.
And have that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now you do have the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which Susan now we'll talk about.
Did you hear the little person in the back telling me that? So, absolutely, but in the beginning I did do something close to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 because I needed to be in a routine and I needed to be able to not think. I needed to just be able to do whatever was on that. So if you are not...
Why did you have to be in a routine? Yeah.
Because I was a super busy single mom of 2 kids with a 40 to 50 hour job per week. Plus I volunteered a lot in my town. And so I didn't have time. Isn't that what most people complain about? Like, I don't know if I have time to promote. Well, if I could do it in 20 to 45 minutes a day, anybody could do it. But I had to have a sheet similar to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 back then. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 now, to keep myself on task. And you can look in my office. I've said this today on another little training that you can go into my office and there will be binders by years since 2014. I started in 2013. I started this consistency thing in 2014 of every single week of one of those. So there are binders and binders and binders. So you can look every Monday and I just start with that sheet and I fill it out. And if you don't, you're like, well, nobody's going to know if I did or not. Find you an accountability partner. I turn mine into Amber every Sunday night. Well, I'm supposed to, but I do. Sometimes it's Monday morning.
We just don't always see our pictures.
Yeah, we don't always see our pictures in. But I'm telling you, that routine right there, every Monday I have a blank sheet of paper and I know what I have to do for the week. So I think about it. I know I got to do reach outs, I know I got to do follow-ups, I know I have to do social media, I got to connect with the leader, and I've got to do building my network every single day. So that's how I do.
And I want y'all to hear, a Lavelle millionaire just said she has an accountability buddy. She fills out the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 tracker for herself and her business because nobody else cares if she does it or not. She's doing it for herself. But Amber has agreed to hold her accountable, and she does that weekly. That is commitment and consistency and being in the grind every day, whether you're in your first 14 days or you're a Lavelle millionaire.
But for the record, Amber wanted somebody to be accountable too, and she knew that I did those every day. So, and I worked it every week, so that worked for both of us. So, that is definitely how you can do this. Getting on a routine and making it a routine, just like a job you'd go to every day. That is a tool that the cloud office gives us. Easy to do. Don't have to think about it.
And with the busy schedule and the time job. You want to add?
Yeah, and I think the important thing about creating a routine for yourself, well, I don't know if anybody's looking right at us, but creating a routine for yourself is something that you're going to then teach to your downline, and they're going to duplicate that to their downline. And creating that routine is where you're going to create layered leadership, because you can't be all of the things for all of the people all of the time. You need to have somebody that you can lean on that can pick up when you have to put down. So when you create your own routine and you teach that, it turns into duplication.
Well, and I'll say too, when I started, I actually was a 4K my first 5 months, so it took a minute for everything to click with me. I wish I would have taken things a little bit more serious from the beginning. Chelsea McClyman kept telling me and calling me, and an upline can only do so much, but there's a day that you have to have that meeting in the mirror and be like, this is legit, and it's gonna pass me by if I don't step up and do something. She actually told me to send my contact list to her, and I was like, why? She wanted me to send it to her because she was going to reach out to him if I didn't reach out to him. But that was a wake-up call to me that she was like, someone is going to talk to your people. And I mean, just take it serious. Like, I feel like I wish I would have done that a little bit sooner, but with me, it clicked at the end of month 5 when I saw Chelsea's BMW. Some people, you might be sitting there and you're 5 years in. It doesn't matter when that happens, but at some point, it has to happen.
I would also add smart sampling. In the beginning, I was handing out product just like candy, and I was not creating the free accounts. And I will also say there are some people that I gave samples to that I didn't need to, that they were ready to order. So I was going through products so fast. So just remember that there are going to be people that they're ready to thrive with you. They're ready to place that order that you don't necessarily have to sample. But always get that free account first and make sure that they're in your system.
Adding to samples, I'm sure there's a question about samples in there somewhere.
I found it. Yeah.
Adding to samples though, also creating that, setting them up for success with a sample. Like, just because you had a day one experience does not mean your sampler is going to have a day one experience. And I know there are a lot of people that were day one thrivers, and then when they give the samples, and then when somebody didn't feel it in their samples, they were like, well, now what doesn't work? And that's not the case. So setting your sampler up for success in the three-way calls and chats.
Someone asked, what do you say to someone that says Thrive doesn't work?
That was going to be the next question.
On day one or period?
How do you respond when someone says Thrive doesn't work for me? They didn't specify if it was during sample or over a period of time.
Well, I had one today who was like, it was a terrible sample. I didn't feel anything on day one. I literally got that this morning, and I was like, and I said, well, I'm going to share with you what my sponsor shared with me. When you walk into the gym on the first day and you don't come out looking like a Barbie doll, did you quit? Shut up, Susan, keep going. I mean, like, she literally was like, Susan, really? And I was like, okay, good point. That was somebody who did not have a good experience on day one. And so I would just giggle and say, well, okay, let's try it again. But I also had to go back with her. She got up this morning and drank a whole 2 or 3 cups of coffee and then started her Thrive. Hello, that's why it did not work. But people who say it doesn't work, I have to usually go through, okay, tell me exactly how you're taking it. Usually that's the first thing that I figure out. Okay, now tell me how much water you're drinking. If all goes well, and the last question I usually ask is how much caffeine are you drinking? That's where I usually get them. But I've got to go through the stages, but there is going to be a time where maybe it just does not work for them. And we part as friends and everything's great, but I usually it's usually the energy piece I think that they think they're missing. Is that usually what it is, or did they specify?
I didn't specify.
And the 10-day detox now too.
10-day detox, I would recommend that. But I also know in the back of my mind somewhere they're saying that because they don't want to pay for it anymore, and they're just coming up with a reason to not take it anymore.
Or they didn't take it.
Or they didn't take it right. I have to ask a series of questions. I never accept that answer.
Well, and everyone's different. So, you know, like I start people on 1 capsule and half the shake. I start them slowly so that their body can slowly adjust to the product. And not working, what does that mean? Did you not notice energy? You know, is it energy? Did you not notice aches, discomforts? It's 3 days. And if you set them up, then they know they may or may not notice anything in 3 days. And so, but there's several questions you can ask. I mean, what does that mean? And making sure that you can cut them back too. If they took 2 capsules, a full shake, and the DFT, and they spent the day in the bathroom, well, the probiotics and prebiotics are working for them. But we can cut back the shake, so it's a positive experience. We don't want someone having a negative experience or something that affects their day in a negative way, so we can always cut back on the product. That's why I
say
start
something on that.
Yeah. I think it's the first thing you need to do is get them connected to somebody else. Don't try to solve all of the questions or the problems. I would always turn everyone to Maria. Okay, so here's my girlfriend, like she's not feeling it. You need to get them connected to somebody else because not everyone does feel it. Some people have a detox on the first couple days. So connection to an upline, downline, someone else is very crucial. Don't try to answer all of these questions yourself. And lastly, we have amazing plus sign products, right? Yes. Maybe the 3 steps isn't enough. Okay, so walk them through, like, okay, where is the problem? Find out if you can suggest another product. So, Chas. The other thing is, I asked them, so how long have you been struggling with your sleep? With not getting good sleep? How long have you been struggling with your weight? How long have you been struggling with your gut? And, they'll tell me, oh gosh, this has been going on for 6 years. Well, I think, we need to give it at least 30 days to be able to see if we can do something.
You're going to say 6 years.
Oh.
We need to give it like 6 years.
But I do find that out so that I can find out how long they struggling with something, because like I said, you know, I didn't expect us to do it overnight, but I did expect us to head in the right direction. So
It's still a unique experience.
And I think my tip on that would be just to maintain your positivity and complete 100% conviction that they need this in their life, and you are going to continue to work with them to figure out what the issue is. So if maybe somebody say, oh my gosh, I just can't stomach the shakes. Oh, no worries, I can help with that. People say that all the time, and we always figure it out. How are you mixing it? What flavor did you try? Well, let's try this instead. And you give them ideas, and then they're like, oh my gosh, it was so much better, because you didn't just say, oh, okay, sorry it didn't work for you, and then go on to the next person. You want to show people that you care, and most importantly, that you know for sure Thrive is going to work for them, even if it hasn't yet.
I think with a sample too, never set the expectation that they're gonna feel like $1 million in the next 3 days. If you do, I think if you do that, you're setting yourself up where hopefully they do, and then that's great. But if they don't, then that's kind of what they expected, you know? And so I think that's, talk about the future of where they're headed.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. This is a good one. Let's get a little down and dirty. How do you retain promoters who get negative or down about their business?
punch them in the face.
It's her birthday. She can say what she wants.
She can punch if she wants to.
Okay, how do y'all keep your promoters positive? I'm going to start by saying you want to vent up and shine down. So if you have someone venting to you, you don't want to vent back. You don't want to let them pull you down into that negativity. You want to just not respond or not have the conversation until you have your upline who you can talk to. They can pour into you, help you know how to respond, maybe give you ideas that promoter needs to work on, and then you start helping them work through their issues. So vent up, shine down. Sorry, Marianne and Sheila.
So I'll touch on this too, because I've had my moments, I still have my moments, where I feel like I definitely need to talk things out, or I definitely need to, I've gone through things or whatever, but when I do call somebody or whatever, the best advice that I have had is, you've got 5 seconds, or you've got 5 minutes, but we're not living here. Like, get it out, move on, we're not gonna stay in this space. And so I would say, like, if somebody is coming to you and they're on your downline and they're coming to you, let them get it out, be there for them, but say, we've got 5 minutes, get it out, say what you need to say, and then we're not living here, we're moving on. And honestly, that was the best thing for me, because it was like, they care enough to listen, but they also care enough to make sure that I get out of it. Like, I'm not staying here, I have to move on, I have to go on with my life. So that was like the best advice ever, and that's why I'm telling y'all, all of you.
Gloria, give us 30 seconds.
I think Laura took 5. Sometimes it's 5.
Listen, sometimes you can't get a word in for 5 minutes with Dana. So I'm like, all right, we unpacked it, but we're not going to live here. Let's move on.
Producing?
Yeah.
We're really like,
we call it a 5 to 10 minute pity pat. Like, you get your pity pat out.
Pity pat.
We call it a pity pat. It's fine, and we all have our moments, but then you bless and release and let it go, because staying there is no good for business. It's no good. You're not getting a customer by doing
Well, it's no good for friendship either.
It's no good
for
for
relationships.
anything. So you take that negativity, you vent up, and you release it, and you move on.
I think a good way to counteract that then is to focus on what is going well. Like, to turn it around, and even if it's your own private business, have that talk in the mirror, and don't stay in negativity.
Yes.
And there's some people that are just negative. It's like, don't let them pull you down. At the end of the day, like, I'm here for my family, I'm here for my team, I'm here, like, for the future. And it's like, sometimes,
I think it's important, since we're allowing them into this mastermind and kind of seeing the behind the scenes. Yesterday we were on a call with Jason Camper, and we had some concerns, as leaders. And so we brought those to him, and then quickly, after we addressed those, he's like, now ladies, tell me what y'all are excited about. And that really resonated with me as a leader, because he took that, he heard the situation, he said he'll work on the solution, and then we went to, what are you excited about? So that was really great.
Okay, I'm hopping in here. I've tried to stay off of camera so I wouldn't talk too much. That's been my strategy. But at the end of the day, guys, like, we're human beings. And so I think it's important that we're not a robot. Nobody's a robot, nobody's a machine. You're human beings with heart, emotion, life happens. Yeah, you're gonna have a negative day, but I think this is where personal growth comes into play, guys. And again, we've been doing this in this room for 7 to 10 years. We have all gone through so many things that have shaped us, and experience is a teacher. So how we handle negativity today is very different than we did 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. But at the end of the day, even just me as a mom, me as a mom at age 45 handles things very different with my kids than I did at age 35. And again, it's just understanding people, and I think you've got to stay true to you. I think we all wake up every day with a choice. And I mean, if we were to go around and even just the ladies in this room, the life that has happened, the loss that has happened to the women in this room, it's a lot. But we don't choose doom and gloom. We wake up every day with hope, and we make a choice. And I mean, really, we all have to check ourselves. And I encourage you guys to do the same. Are you dwelling on something that is beyond your control? Are you dwelling on the past, or are you looking forward to the future? And if you want to be blessed in this life, you can't be negative Nelly. You just can't. I mean, there are blessings all around you, and you have to see them. And the more you seek them, you're going to find them. So, I mean, how to win friends and influence people. What are you listening to that is encouraging you? And this is not your upline's responsibility. Your upline is not responsible for your mood check. You are responsible for your mood check, because your negativity is not just affecting you or your team, it's affecting your relationships, your spouse, the people you sit with at church, the people you sit with at your kids' games. How do you view life? And I'm telling you, I've had to check myself. I'm not preaching to you guys. I'm saying experience is a teacher, and I've had to personally check myself, because there's been moments of blessings that I've missed out on for other reasons. And man, when you look back on that, you're like, dang it, why did I do that? So again, give people grace with that, but if it is to be, it's up to me, and people have to take ownership, and it's all about, growing, making that commitment, making the choice. I'm moving out of the camera again.
Right. Okay, here's a good question, and I have it from 2 different people. It's the same subject, but I'll read both questions in case it triggers a response from you guys. I guess time management would be my biggest question. How do you manage to not neglect your own business while helping promoters under you grow? And then the other person said, what apps or systems do you use to keep yourself organized? How do you give everyone the time when your network gets so large? How do you give everyone the time needed? This person feels like they don't provide that intimacy and connection with each of their new customers like they did because their organization has grown so much, which, by the way, is a very good problem, so congratulations. All right, who wants to take that one?
Well, I'll just jump in because I did that the last few years. I kind of stopped growing my personal business because I felt like my team needs me. I need to be here. I need to be doing that. I can't do these things. I told myself a bunch of lies. I don't know if I hear that. I told myself a bunch of lies, and I wasn't growing my personal business as I should have. I didn't quit growing my personal business. I just wasn't giving it the attention it deserved from me. And then also, what was that very last part of the personal customers?
They feel like they don't provide intimacy and connection with each of their new customers like they used to because their organization has grown so much.
So something I've learned personally is my personal customers and my frontline deserve me first. That is my opinion, but that is just how I've come to see it over the years. Doesn't mean I'm not paying attention to the rest of my team. It just means I'm prioritizing. And I'm also prioritizing getting back to people. Nothing is an emergency. Nothing is an emergency. And if you are like me and you are a people pleaser, that is very, very, very hard to learn.
that your team is not gonna die without you. Like, it's not gonna happen. So
I think this also goes back to what Leanne was saying about that layered leadership. If you're training your team to do the things that you're doing, you don't need to be there 100% for your team because your team is already taught how to do it. So not only that, but if you're doing what Susan was telling you to do and you're doing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're already set on a schedule to reach out to those people, to follow up on those people. So you're already reaching out to those customers and making sure that everything is still good and still and you're still reaching out for your personal business. So you're knocking out what you need to do in the first 30 minutes of your day, and then you're also creating that layered leadership so your team is already following what you're supposed to do. And you have so much time left in your day to do whatever else you want to do. And what I choose to do is I choose to focus on me, my family, and running with my top leaders. And I say top leaders, I mean the people who are freaking running. I don't care if you are my level 1, 5, 15, 20, it doesn't matter. If you are running, I'm running with you. So I still focus on my top levels when it comes to building leadership, but when it comes to like getting on the phone and getting hyped up, I want to get hyped up with the people who are running like their hair is on fire. That's my
I agree. I believe the squeaky wheel gets the oil. When teams get so large, you need to reach up to your upline leadership and let them help you and let them run with you. Because if you are feeling like your upline leader never reaches out to you, that's because their organization has gotten so large, and it's not that they don't care, it's not that they whatever. If you reach out, I know for my team personally, people that reach out to me, I work with those people. Like that's, and I'm with you. I don't care what level they're in. If they want my attention, they get it. But if you sit there and feel sorry for yourself, but you're not doing the do to get the get, that's something completely different. Your upline leader isn't going to reach down and say, why aren't you reaching out? Because this is a volunteer army, and if you're not volunteering and if you're not working it, then people are not going to be reaching down to you. I'm not saying that people aren't ever going to check in, but we also don't want to be annoying someone who doesn't care to be working their business right now. So if you want the help, if you want the assistance, don't complain about it. Go do it and reach up. Reach up and dig into the person in your upline that is going to help you.
One of the things I ask too is, who have you reached out to? I always say, if you have a need, sow a seed. So if you're needing encouragement, go encourage someone. If you're needing someone to, just whatever you need, place that back into, other people. So when you have a need, sow a seed, because it's really an effective way for just that give and take.
I remember one thing I heard in this business a long time ago, but it has stuck, is if you treat this like a hobby, it's going to pay like a hobby. So time blocking is something that works really well for me, and I read a book called The 5 a.m. Club, and it talked a lot about getting up an hour earlier, prioritizing, time blocking your day, like where could you crunch time. And when I first started in the business, I was working it in the nooks and crannies, and then it got to be where I was so busy I was living my life in the nooks and crannies. So there has to be a balance with that, and that's something that's individual to each person. It isn't a cookie cutter business, but I think you have to prioritize what is most important, put that in first, and then fill the rest.
So I'll also say that when I am creating that routine, I start with my personal business. Before I open any team chats, any team pages, I live in my 30, 60, 90-day PPA report, and I check in with those people first. Then I go to my sponsorship report and I check in with my front line first. Then I check in with my samplers. So creating that system keeps that strong foundation, because you can't build on not a strong foundation. So putting your personal business above all else and then reaching out to the team and finding out where you can lend help is super effective for me.
Love that. Woo! That's good. There's your systems and organization right there. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Okay. All right, let's, we're just going to continue a little bit on that. Again, this person is asking specifically about customer retention. What do you do to keep your customers coming back? Because it's all about that residual income. Customer retention. Customer retention.
Yeah, Susan and Tanya, let's go.
So I do a lot of stuff. One thing, every customer that orders on an auto ship or is new, they all get a handwritten thank you note from me. And they get some sort of prize inside of their thank you note. If they're brand new, thank you, Dana. If they're brand new, they get a card and it's a thank you, and it says we're going to have a blast on your journey, and they get a little thing of blast in their card. Other than that, I go through each month and I'll pick a product. Like last month, everybody got Rebuild. This month, everybody's going to get the Duo Elite. Just in their card, and again, just thanking them for investing in their health and being part of my business. Follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. Cannot say that enough. I do not just message them on the day before their auto ship. I literally have a list of all my customers, and I am commenting on their Facebook posts. I'm commenting on their kids. I'm checking in with them throughout the month. So when I do come and talk to them about their auto ship, they feel really guilty if they have to tell me they're not continuing. Totally okay, but your customers can literally get you all the way to 12K, so you've got to take care of them, and they usually make your best promoters if they flip, so you want them to be doing the same thing that you're doing.
Love that. I do a lot of the same things. Every single month, I'm reaching out. I'm doing customer shout outs. I highlight a customer every single month and shout them out, thanking them, maybe giving them a little, just a little encouragement or shout out of what this product has done for them. That generates curiosity, that gets them excited. I say, there's a present for you in your inbox, and that could be credits, whatever. You guys, your customers are the lifeline of your business. You need to take care of them. I mean, they are, like Susan said, they will be your best promoters. And even if not, they're going to be your best referrers. They're going to give you their sister, their mother, their brother, whatever, because you took such great care of them. I do goodie bags. I mean, you literally, there's so much that you can do for them, and it's just making them feel special. Don't forget about your customers because you're running this huge team and your promoters are taking your time or whatever else. You really need to show them that you care, you value their, you value them. They chose to thrive and do business with you, so take care of them.
Hey, I have a question for customer shout.
Yeah.
I'm sure people have the same question. So you pick a customer every month, you shout them out on Facebook?
Yes.
And you just pay.
I take a picture. Yep. I take a picture that they've already had on their wall, so I know it's approved. And I use that picture and I shout them out. And I've never had anyone say, "Take that down." I don't like that. Everyone's very grateful.
They want to be celebrated.
Because they want to be celebrated. No, they want to be celebrated.
Give us an example of like what the shout out would look like.
What does it say? You're gonna put me on the spot like that. My customer of the month, July, is so and so. I am so grateful for her business. She's been a customer for 3 years. If it's the energy or she lost some weight, I may highlight that, and I'll just say how amazing she is and just make them feel good. I mean, it's not a cookie cutter. I do it specific for them. Sometimes they're strangers, like I met them on Facebook, and sometimes they're close friends. So it just depends. I tailor it to each person. Don't overthink it. They love the encouragement.
I want to kick on with that too. One of the things that I do with my recurring customers is to really focus on the buy to or refer to so that they can get their product for free. Because quite honestly, probably the first 5 years in this business, I didn't focus on that. And that's the honest truth. I was so focused on going out and getting new people that I didn't really understand the power of the refer to. So when you get someone loving their Thrive experience, you're not going after them as a sales technique. You're going after them to paint the picture of, I can help you with those posts. I'm glad to partner with you. I always say the only thing better than Thrive is free Thrive, things like that. And then helping them, getting them their link and messaging it to them. So all they have to do is copy and paste because these are customers. And I said, if I have, for instance, 100 recurring customers, if each of those referred, that's 300 customers. So look at what you have for those recurring customers and multiply it because it really can add up quickly. And that's a service that we are in the customer service business as well.
And don't forget you've got the promo codes too. So every time you order a promoter pack, you've got those promo codes that you can share with your customers. That's a nice thank you right there. That's super easy.
Okay. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Okay, I've got probably 2 or 3 more that I definitely want to get in. This one is best advice when your family and friends are not an option, where do you go? And there's been another question of if you don't have a big network, social media or otherwise, or you don't know anyone, where do you find your people and how do you grow when you really don't have a network?
I'll say something really quick. My kids are signed up for everything, but they love it. Like I kind of use them, like they love it though. I'm just kidding. But really, like I mean, every camp, everything, I'm there. I'm thriving out loud. I have my DFT on. I'm smiling. I'm being approachable. If you don't know how to talk to someone when you're out and about, always start with a compliment. If you were at Thrive-Palooza, you heard about how I used to hang out in the Target aisle, baby aisle. Never got actual orders in the baby aisle, but I did meet a lot of new moms that needed Thrive and added them on social media and got it from there. But I know a lot of people use like social media groups and different things. I'm face-to-face. I do that, but I work best face-to-face. As some people say belly-to-belly. Like, I just know if I'm struggling, I need to get out. I gotta go do something. I gotta get around people. So that's, I don't know, me.
This is a good question for Cheyenne, who
Lives in
talks to cows.
Who lives in an igloo.
Lives in an igloo.
But she's saying that she doesn't have social media. Right?
Well, no, just not a big network on or off of social media.
Okay. Well, and that's true. I mean, yeah, talking to cows, but okay, there are cow groups on Facebook, and so or horse groups. But what I would say,
igloo groups?
Yeah, there's igloo groups too. What I would say is, for instance, I live in Montana now, and so when I moved back, because I was native there 20 years ago, so moving back, I'm like, how do I meet moms in Montana? And so there's a Montana hiking group. There's homeschooling moms from Montana. So I started joining these groups too, and not, a lot of the groups these days, you have to be careful because you can't make business posts and things. But you're basically going to connect, and I can guarantee you someone's going to comment on your post in there, and you can say, hey, I'm going to send you a DM. And so then just take the conversation private, and really your ultimate goal is to get to know that person. We're not selling right away, right? We're sharing our life, and that is how you're going to make a connection. And you're going to show up every day on social media authentically as who you are, and you're going to sprinkle Thrive into your life and how it makes your life better and why you don't ever want to go without this product, and then they will want the same in time as well.
I have to add too that that question is pretty bold to say that 0 friends or 0 family are going to join you, because I know when I started, like I have 2 brothers and a sister, and they're married, and there's nieces and nephews that were old enough to thrive, and nobody thrived with me. And I built a multi-million-dollar organization from that nobody. But guess what? Over time, people start thriving with you because they see, you know what, you're consistent, you're showing up on social media, your doors have stayed open for now 10 years, and now they're willing to take your product. And I know now my sister, my brother-in-law, their entire family thrives, and it's a matter of being consistent and keeping that confidence in what you have in the palm of your hands, and knowing that you are capable of changing their lives, and you don't know at what point in time someone went to bed praying for what you have. So you have to be willing to continue to follow up. You can't count out every single person on your social media. You can't post on your social media and assume because nobody likes your post that nobody's watching you. Because if you stop showing up, they're gonna be like, yep, that stuff doesn't work. So you have to continue to show up day in, day out, network with other people. Like Cheyenne said, is exactly what you wanna do, but you can't count those people out. I'm a firm believer in that.
I have to share something that you just said that brought something up. I hit the Millionaire Award, and 3 years later, my mom came to me and said, I didn't know this had pre and probiotics in it. Like, are you kidding me? So don't ever give up, and they may not always hear what you're saying, and they may not see what you're posting, and so like Kelly, getting face to face with people and showing up and wearing your DFT loud and proud, that's all part of what we do.
So my next door neighbor literally hated me. Like, she talked about me to everybody. We had a big fight, the whole thing. She hated me. 3 years later, she's no my customer.
Yeah.
She and I think it's like confidence, and you just said, if we're confident when we have our hands on, not everyone, and who says it, Maria best, not everyone wants the gum that you offer at the ball field. Is that's not everyone wants the gum right at the time, but you need to keep showing up because those people are still watching, and maybe it's not about your story, maybe it's about somebody else's story that you highlight, so be sure you're also sharing other people's story.
Well, and on the stick of gum thing, so I love how Maria used to say it, because she said, you be at the ball game, you offer a stick of gum, they don't want your gum right now. It doesn't mean that they don't like gum. It doesn't mean that they don't like you. They're just not ready for gum right now. And that's the right.
Well, and some of those people really need gum.
mean,
Oh, yeah.
you're not alone. You're not alone.
How many people have family that still don't thrive?
You still have family, don't thrive.
The majority of my family still doesn't thrive with me, and I'll be honest, you guys, when I started, I was afraid to go to my closest friends and family. Yes, now I tell everybody, go to your closest friends and family. They're your get you out of jail people that'll get you VIP bonuses. And in fact, that's true, but I wasn't confident or brave enough because I cared about what they were gonna say. And I didn't want them shooting me down or making me feel negative about this new amazing thing that I found. So I went to like old high school friends that I hadn't seen in 15 or 20 years that we were associated on Facebook, and I started friending all the high school friends that I wasn't friends with. And those are the ones that I went to first because they were the same age as me. Their bodies were going through what mine was. I knew it. And the ones that I did follow, I kind of knew, like, you know, they either needed to lose weight or they were grumpy or complaining all the time. But I didn't care what their response was. Their no didn't knock me down because I didn't ever see them or talk to them really anyway. So if you have to go that route and talk to strangers first, just get somebody started on Thrive. Sheila says that all the time. If you're feeling negative, go share a story, share your story, read a story, or get a new story started, because that will remind you of why you do this in the first place.
And don't tell people why you think they need to thrive.
No,
Because
no,
you're
no, no,
grumpy,
no.
because you're overweight. Don't tell them.
Yeah, no. Okay, so I'm going to go with 2 more questions, I think. What is your most successful response to how much is it? How much does it cost? How do you respond?
Less than your coffee at the Starbucks.
I tend to say, you know, between $5 to $7 a day, you can feel amazing. You'll spend $23 just to go to McDonald's these days. So it's a great investment in your health. So I don't act like I never act like price is a big deal. I let them tell me if price is a big deal. I act like, because I seriously, like when we started, I feel like 10 years ago, our price was probably a little bit more of a big deal. Now, everything's so freaking outrageous that ours is actually quite a bargain. So, like,
It's
I don't
only, right?
Yeah, only. Exactly.
Like step out with confidence, and the majority of my customers are elite customers. So, number one, if you have to paint the picture of how the value of the pack is, but I step out with, it's $180 actually, which is $6 a day. That's what I say. And if they, you know, raise a, then I go to them, you know, oh my gosh, I can't, well, why would you say that you can't afford it? You know, and just have the conversation. There's no.
And let's customize it. What is your budget?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's where credits, promo codes, all that comes in.
Well, and this is where too Feel Felt Found comes in, because I'll say the price of the 160, 180, whatever it is, you know, if we're talking Elite or Classic, and I'll say, which honestly I found is really priceless. Here's why, and then I share my story, and that my family deserved me, and heck, I was worth $160 a month. So.
Well, and also make sure that you're adding that they can get it for free. I think, you know, as long as we're putting in there, because there is no other company, there is no other product that you can just walk in and be like, yeah, but the great news is that when you start to love it and you want to refer to friends, you get the product for free. So I paid once and I've never paid again. So I think adding that as well is going to help you out as well.
And I think putting in the tip in there of you're not going to understand this now,
Yes.
but when you get started, you're going to realize you're not going through the fast food, you know, get lunches anymore. You're not eating unhealthy snacks all day. You're not going through Starbucks. You're not having that Red Bull in the afternoon. I mean, there are people spending way more than $5 or $6 a day on crap that's making them feel like crap, and they just don't understand yet, which is why they need you to tell them and kind of break it down like that. So then they're going to end up saving money, even if they are paying for it, but they don't have to because they can get it for free.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes too, if you can get them in a group message with your upline before that question even comes.
Yes.
Like I feel like my upline will paint a picture of how many people around them can benefit from the products before they even ask how much it is. Like they're talking about who they know that's tired. They're thinking about who they know that's a teacher, that's keeping up with everyone else's kiddos. And, you know, they've got these people in their mind, and they're not really, I mean, when the price comes up, they already have those people in their mind of how they're going to thrive for free. I'm just going to get past this first month.
Yeah, and I like that because having confidence, it goes back to confidence. You may not be in a place where you're very confident to talk about price. That's something very uncomfortable when you're newer. That's why you have that third-party validation and somebody else, because it's posture.
if you're waxing and weighing about the price well and you're not confident, how are they going to be confident? But you need to paint that picture like it's going to make sense when you get in your body. It's going to be the best $5 to $7 that you've ever spent in your entire life. They're going to feel that. Like, they have to feel our words. And if you're not there yet, that's okay, because all of us at some point were not confident. We had our upline. So I guarantee you everyone in this room leans on their upline to do the majority of the talking for them, even to this day. Yep. When we're talking to a personally enrolled customer or promoter. Why are y'all laughing?
Because it's true. Did it
Okay.
today. Yeah.
Hey, but with that, there's several that have said that my upline, doesn't even work the business anymore, whatever. So guys, you've got somebody. There is somebody, and maybe it's a side sister. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you can hold each other accountable and be each other's, through a messenger buddies. Susan and Amber are not on each other's team. They're my personals, but they are each other's accountability partners. Amber is my downline. I can't tell you how many three-way messenger chats I put her in, or I put Tanya in, or I put Susan. You know what I mean? Like,
I think I've talked to your eyelash lady.
Yes.
If their leadership has left or they're no longer working in the business and they don't know them, put in a ticket. I love getting those emails saying, I don't even know who my leadership is, and I want to connect with you. And so I enjoy connecting with people, that have said yes along the way. I think they're lost.
Meaning you can ask support, like, hey, who is my? But hello, if you're in this group page, like you're on my team. So
check your leader updates too. Who's posting leader updates? That way you can see most likely
so
your company's posting.
that tab now is called sponsor news or sponsor news, promoter news. You can go in there and look and see who has posted updates. Your leaders utilize those. I have a couple that I keep in there all the time. I have our VIP Fast Start training in there. I have our 14-day new promoter training bot in there. I have our accountability customer 30-day challenge group in there. I try to keep it specific to the resources that I have for you guys, but your teams utilize those. So
Customer groups are good for accountability.
yeah, take a look at those too.
Okay, last question, and I think this is going to be a really fun one because of social media and the way it's taken over the world and all the tools that we have now to help us grow our networks, grow our business. So the question is, what are your favorite apps that you use? Didn't specify for, I guess, just for growing your business. Whether it's organization, creativity, social media, what are your favorite apps? Canva, Kickstart.
I was going to say, my favorite is Pic Collage because I can do my before and afters, and I literally live with my before and afters. So that is my make or break. I need my...
Take a few, don't overwhelm yourself.
Yeah, don't overwhelm yourself with a lot. Just pick a couple of favorites. Learn one really well before you start using another one.
Boards. I use boards.
Boards.
And your Drop Connect app. Learn it.
Your Drive Connect app is a really good one now. Sheila said Boards. Boards is an app. If you go look for it, it's a white background with a black word, and you can create a board and just compile files of all the things that you want easy access to. For instance, support tickets. Every time you find a support ticket or see a support ticket or get a support ticket, you can add them to your boards, or you can do a photo a folder in your photos.
Photo albums.
A photo album, and file all your support tickets in there so that you're not always having to ask support a question that's already been asked or you've already seen. You can title it and label it. You can put graphics in there. You can put pictures in there. All kinds of things you can utilize boards for. And your upline may be using boards that they can just share with you something that they've already created.
I think mostly everybody in here has boards.
So if you're on someone in this room, if you're on their team, they have a board that they can share with you tools that they've already created. What's another favorite app?
One of the ones I've used for a long time, and I'm transitioning a lot of this now to boards, but is the notes section on my phone. And I've always had like Thrive. I've had like little quick like, well, what is Thrive? And then you're not typing out the same thing over and over and over again. It's a copy and paste. It really helps if you need your link, sample requests, get that and put it in a little blurb, put it under sample requests, and then you just go. And then, they have to request the sample, then you have to approve the sample. And then, and I do that a lot in texting. Another one, personal development is really important. So I use Audible a lot because I've got AirPods, whatever in. But Headway is one that I just discovered, and it helps you read a book in 15 minutes. And it gives you yes, it's great because it's read to you, and it is awesome because I have gone through so many personal development books in the last Headway. And it is awesome because even if you only have 15 minutes, I mean, it is on point. And then if you want to read the book more or have it read more to you, it will. So.
And on photos, so this is not an app, but a tool. In your photos, if you go to your photos, I don't know about Android, but iPhone does it. If you go to your photos, you can type in the search. You can type in if you're looking for caffeine. So like if you've already saved graphics, it says how much caffeine is in this, or how much this, or you want a picture from when you were in Vegas. You can type it like that. You can utilize keywords from pictures on your phone now.
Yes, Androids can do that too.
Yes, that was awesome. And also our groups, like I know in Maria, this one, if you're ever looking for something, you can just go to that little magnifying and search, and there's
Even
so
on
much.
the Bell fan page,
Yes,
if you're looking
that
for
too.
a nurse's story, you're looking for a firefighter, you can put that in there and find that there.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we can wrap this up, but some things we learned about, and y'all can, I'm sure your leaders are gonna come back with you with it, but also you can go chat or figure it out, Google it on your own. AI, so chat AI, you look for the Google one. You can do it on the website, you can get the app, Chat GPT. What was the other? Video Leap?
Video Leap. Really cool, fun, quick videos that don't take a lot of editing, and CapCut. For real. CapCut and Video Leap.
Yeah, I use Unfold for stories a lot too. It's very easy to use.
Okay, that's a lot of apps. Don't go download them all at once.
Your podcast.
Yes.
It's just listen. Don't forget to start your day with something positive. I'm weird about that. I used to not be that way. I would listen to it whenever, but then I've heard from enough leaders in this industry that they start their day with something positive. Focus on something positive in the mornings to start your day off.
I'll say I listen to podcasts when I work out, when I run, when I'm on the treadmill, when I'm driving. Instead of listening to music, I'm listening to a podcast. And actually, if y'all have a favorite one, and we can wrap up with that, my favorite book or podcast that I would recommend right now would be The Power of One More by Ed Mylett is the book. If you haven't read it, get it, go do it right now. Don't wait till tomorrow. And then he also has an amazing podcast, The Ed Mylett Show. And I always go to his first and find one that I either haven't listened to or it sounds amazing, and he fires me up. Anybody else have a book or podcast recommendation? Ed Mylett.
I mean, I listen to Stephen Furtick. I know it's like a lot of Jesus, but I love Stephen Furtick every day.
I do. He's great. Mel Robbins.
And Jesus.
The School of Greatness by Lewis Howes. I really like
Book
that one. No, it's a podcast. It's really good,
Podcast.
yeah.
The School of Greatness.
School of Greatness. Yep.
And Jasmine Starr, who was at Thrive Palooza, she's got a great one too.
Even her on Instagram, huh? I like her stuff.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Maria, I think that's it for the questions. You guys, those were great.
I was going to say,